Girlies, it's time to chat. We gotta talk about it. Allure just released their Best of Beauty Awards 2024, and I just need to share with you my thoughts and opinions. I don't know about you, but for a long time I have been wondering whether or not these awards are actually legit. Are they just paid advertisements? Are some of the products really old launches or very new launches? And who the heck actually chooses who wins these awards? That is everything that I'm going to cover in today's video. I'm also going to apply on some of the award winners and let you know whether or not I agree or if there's something that I like better. And as we go along, I would love to hear your comments below on if you agree with some of these award-winning products. Okay, so let's dive into this because I had to do some research. I was curious to know how these awards actually worked. I've heard a lot of rumors, I've heard a lot of complaints. Many of us think that these awards are kind of rigged. They are brands paying to win so that they can have this stamp of approval, and it's also another kind of marketing strategy. And to my surprise, Allure actually has an article breaking down how their Best of Beauty Awards works throughout the year, which I think will answer some of our concerns and our questions. When are these products being submitted and what are they considering in the Best of Beauty Awards to be nominated? And in the article, it actually says that brand submissions begin in October of 2023. So a year ago was when they started submissions for the 2024 awards, and brands are physically submitting products to be nominated to win the Best of Beauty Awards in Allure. I think that this is a good opportunity for brands in terms of marketing because having that stamp of approval helps build trust with consumers, and even for people who don't know what the Best of Beauty Awards of Allure is, they might see that and think, ooh, it won an award, like it must be a good product. It's kind of like on a book when you see that it says New York Times best-selling author. It just adds credibility to the product, it adds credibility to the book, even if the meaning of these awards is actually nothing. So in the article it says, we ask brands to submit any product, old or new, that they believe is a contender. The only condition is that it's available for purchase in September 2024 when the awards are announced, and it can't be a limited edition launch. So that makes sense because I'm not gonna lie, looking at some of these winners, I was confused because I always thought that the awards were from the launches of 2024, like what launched throughout this year. And the next question I had was, who the heck is declaring these to be the Best of Beauty? And it's actually the Allure team themselves. So in the article it says, simultaneously we began reaching out to members of the Allure team to ask which categories they want to test based on their hair and skin types, their makeup styles, etc. So I do find this really interesting, and I'm not sure I'm the biggest fan of this way of like testing and voting for products, at least if we want the awards to have a little bit more value. And to clarify, Allure does have a Reader's Choice Awards, so I think that's a little bit more accurate to us as the everyday people, like voting what we actually love. For the Best of Beauty Allure, it's the team themselves declaring what they think is the best. I'm wondering if multiple people are trying the same products on the team or if it's just one person trying a handful of products. Based on the article, I think it's one person, like each person is assigned like a few products to try throughout the year, which to me loses some credibility only because even when I'm watching a makeup review on, let's say, like the House Labs foundation, I don't just watch one makeup reviewer. I try to get different perspectives and get reviews from multiple people with my skin type to give me a more accurate picture on if this would work for me or not. And also because opinions and thoughts on a product always varies, so having one person be the one to declare feels not as trustworthy to me personally. And I'm sure there is a reason why maybe they only have one person testing a product, but I would like to see multiple perspectives. And on their website, they do have a little section that explains why the product won and then the feedback from the tester, but not all of the feedback is explaining, you know, that person's preferences. Some of it is really short quotes and tidbits, but I want to know a little bit more. They also have categories like Best of Beauty Breakthrough. The product has to have data in the form of clinical studies to back up its claims. A panel of judges, including cosmetic chemists, dermatologists, plastic surgeons, and of course Allure editors, is enlisted to test the product, review the data, and ultimately agree that it really does deliver results and that there's nothing else out there quite like it. Again, it's interesting because certain categories, they're having multiple people kind of look through it, and I understand the Best of Beauty breakthrough one because there are technicalities, but I would also love to see a panel of judges for the other products too. And then for clean beauty, they do have their own definition of clean beauty. The article says there is much debate in the beauty industry over the term clean, so we came up with our own criteria. Vetted by dermatologists, toxicologists, and cosmetic chemists, products that meet our standards are formulated without parabens, phthalates, sodium lauryl sulfate, and sodium laureth sulfate. I'm not even gonna go through this entire list. You get the point. And now the big question is, are brands paying to win these awards? Are they sponsoring these awards? And are these awards actually rigged? I'm going to answer that at the end of this video, so be sure to watch until the end. But until then, we are going to dive into some of the Best of Beauty award winners, and I'll let you know whether I agree or disagree. Okay, so I've already prepped my skin for makeup, and I did just want to chat about one of the skincare items that I definitely agreed with that won the Best of Beauty Allure award, and the award was for Best Clean Skincare, which I think is a pretty big category to win because it's overall clean skincare. It's not just winning like best toner or best cleanser. The product that won was the Elle Face Base Milk. As you can tell, I absolutely love this. I'm almost out. I bought this a few months ago during the Sephora sale, and I definitely think that it is worth the hype. I'm obsessed with this. It's the best toner milky essence formula I've ever tried. It's like the formulation of an essence or a toner. I keep switching them interchangeably because I can't recall whether this is an essence or a toner, but either way, it has that very watery texture to apply before moisturizer, but this texture is so much thicker than your typical watery essence or toner. I'm pretty sure on Sephora, let me check actually, because I feel like someone in the comments is gonna be like, that's not an essence, that's a toner. That's not a toner, that's an essence. Yeah, they're labeling it the Base Face Milk Essence and Lightweight Moisturizer. So you can use it as an essence, you can use it as a moisturizer. If you have oily skin, I think it's beautiful as a moisturizer, especially before makeup, because it's thick enough. It gives you that hydration, that moisture. My skin just drinks this ish up, okay? It feels like a drink of water is what it feels like. You know, when you're like super dehydrated and then you have a cold glass of water and it just feels refreshing and good. That's how it feels on your skin. And if you have dry skin, I think it's beautifully layered with a moisturizer. It's going to add that extra hydration that you need. I like this better than the Laneige toner just because I find that even though this is thick, it doesn't leave like a sticky residue on my skin. My skin will actually drink this up and it will leave a beautiful glow. Now she's pricey, so I am trying out the Tier Milky Toner, and I'll keep you updated on if I think that is better or better for the price. Okay, so I've already applied that, and then I went in with my moisturizer, which is the Embryolisse Sensitive Multifunction Moisturizer. This I don't think was a winner of Best of Beauty, but this is the one that I'm using so far. I just tried it, so I can't really give you too many deets on it, but I'm really liking it. And then on top, I'm using the Torrid Dive In Moisture Sun Cream with SPF 50 PA+++++. I've also already applied on primer, and the winner for the best mattifying primer was the e.l.f. Cosmetics Liquid Poreless Putty Primer. Now I have to say I kind of disagree with this one. I am going to complain a little bit about the categories because I find them kind of strange and a little bit of a stretch, and they don't fully make sense. I don't think that the e.l.f. Poreless Putty Primer is a mattifying primer at all. They do have a hydrating primer winner, which I think is from Beauty Blender, so I can see why they were trying to do maybe a hydrating and a mattifying primer, but I don't think e.l.f. Cosmetics, this primer falls under that in my opinion. It's more of a primer that's going to blur your skin and create like a smooth canvas. I wouldn't consider it mattifying. Like, I have it on my skin today and I don't think it's that mattifying at all. And there was a phase I went through that this was my favorite, but now that I've tried the Hourglass Vanish Airbrush Primer, this is my all-time favorite. I personally like this so much more. I think the formula is a little bit more sophisticated. It smooths, it hydrates, it blurs. And then if you want a drugstore version, I kind of like this better than the e.l.f. one. This is the NYX Marshmallow Primer. I find that this one also has more of the Hourglass kind of texture. It's smoothing, it's moisturizing, it kind of blurs the skin a little bit. And I just think it works a little bit than the e.l.f. Putty Primer. With the e.l.f. Putty Primer, I notice in comparison to all the other ones that I've tried, I don't really see that it really makes a big difference aside from creating a nice canvas for the rest of my foundation to go on. Now for best liquid foundation, Fenty Beauty Soft Lit Naturally Luminous Longwear Foundation was the winner. And I've never tried this one because it is more of a glowy foundation, and I tend to kind of like stay away from those foundations because I do have oily, acne prone skin. So I'm not doubting that this is a good formulation because I have watched some really good reviews about this. But what's sad is that there's only one category for best liquid foundation. They did do a best mattifying primer, so I'm kind of confused as to why they didn't do like best matte foundation. They also did a best powder foundation. They didn't do a best hydrating foundation. And again, they did choose like beauty editors based on their skin type, preferences, etc. So I would just think that they would have a category, maybe best for oily skin or something like that. I feel like that would just make a little bit more sense to me. This is overall best liquid foundation, but if you're gonna break down the other categories, I think it would just be worth breaking down this category a little bit further because foundation's a big one. So since I don't have the Fenty liquid foundation, oh my gosh, I opened the House Labs foundation like this. How did that even happen? I've been using the sample of this for quite some time now, and I just thought, it's finally time to get the bigger version because even though this is a very glowy and hydrating foundation, I do find that it works beautiful on my oily, acne-prone, textured skin. And I'm really just surprised that this didn't win the Best of Allure category because I feel like this is the one that I hear everyone rave the most about. But I took a little glimpse at the Reader's Choice Awards and I think that it did win for Reader's Choice Awards. So that would make sense. And I'm wondering if they didn't put it in the Allure Choice Awards because it won Reader's Choice Awards. Do you see that? Like, I think it's like very much medium coverage. I'm going to build it up a little bit more. It's super freaking liquidy, but the way that it spreads on my skin is just gorgeous, darling. I was not supposed to do my foundation first. I was actually gonna do my eye makeup. This really threw me for a loop. The brush I'm also using is the Real Techniques 110 brush, if you're wondering. I'm gonna link everything in the description box if you are interested in any of it. I meant to do things in a certain order, but I guess we will just be jumping around. So I'm gonna go back to eyes. For eyes, they have multiple categories. They had best cream eyeshadow, powder eyeshadow, another cream eyeshadow. What? Am I looking at this correctly? This is what I mean. I find the categories very strange. Like there's 2 best cream shadows, yet with foundation we only had 1? Huh? I liked the winners, so I guess that's all that matters. The best cream eyeshadow is the Merit Solo Shadow, and I have the shade in Mid-Century. I have really been loving this. I find the formula to be creamy with the warmth of your fingers, so I do recommend to use this with your fingers or the formula is going to be really dry. And it's very much like a cream to powder formula. It does set on the eye, lasts a really long time. This is my chosen current one and done eyeshadow. I just kind of apply this on my eyes when I'm wearing minimal makeup and I just leave the door like that. Sometimes I don't even put on mascara. I just have this on to add some color, but it also makes a beautiful base for the rest of your eyeshadow. The color is like a warm kind of brown shade. I think it's really flattering and natural on my eyes. It kind of looks like the shade that I would bronze my eyes with, so I really like it for that reason. And then for the best powder eyeshadow, of course, Makeup by Mario won this category with his Master Matte eyeshadow. the original. And I'm not surprised. I know a lot of people who love this. There was a phase where I liked it, but there was always something off about the formula for me. I love the color story that he has with that palette. I love the size of that palette, but the formula was always very patchy to me, muddy, not easy to blend, and I only used a few shades in that palette, so I did declutter it because I just don't think it's up to par. Even when you compare it to his holiday, like limited edition Ethereal Eyes palette, that formula, in my opinion, was 10 times better than the Master Mattes. I don't know about his Cool Tone Mattes palette, if it's any different or the same, but I just don't really like his eyeshadow formula for his matte palettes. I personally think that the winner should have been the Patrick Ta Major Dimensions 3 matte palette, because this formula is top tier to me. It's very powdery. It does have some fallout to it because it's so powdery, but you can control the fallout. It's not like glitter fallout. Like if you're applying too much right off the bat, like you're gonna get fallout, but if you tap off the brush, you won't get any fallout at all. It's super easy to blend. You can build up these shades. It comes with 2 cream shadows that you can use as liners or as a base for your makeup. You get warm tones and neutral tones. Now there's slightly less variety in this palette than in the Master Mattes palette, so I guess that's up to you on what you would decide, but in terms of quality and formula, this is the winner for me. So what I'm gonna do is go in with this shade right here, which is just a light warm tone. I'm just gonna use this to blend as like my crease transitional shade. Then I'm gonna go in with the second deepest warm tone brown. I'm just gonna put this on the outer corner and into the crease. My favorite shade in this palette is this dark brown right here. It's kind of like brownish black, like it's so deep it kind of looks like a black. And I'm just going to create a smudgy wing on the outer corner. Now the best color pencil eyeliner was actually the Kulfi Kajal eyeliner. And I got the scent in PR. I haven't used it too much because I've been trying to use up my Makeup by Mario one. I'm going to use it to just further line my top lashes and kind of smudge it out. This formula is super creamy when you initially apply it on, so you can really smudge and play with the smokiness of it, but once it sets, it's not budging. I'm gonna line my bottom lash line with this. So if you are looking for a really beautiful, like smudgy pencil liner, but you want it to have longevity, this is the eyeliner. Okay, so the fun of this eye makeup is that it's going to look a little messy and chaotic, but you do need to trust the process, okay? The next winner is another Kulfi eye product, and it's their Zari Eyes eyeshadow. And this actually won as the, I think it was the best solo cream shadow, which I find very strange because Merit won best cream shadow. So either way, I love this product. Unfortunately, I don't have the new shade, which is the Sona Sona. It's a beautiful gold kind of sparkly topper. This is the shade that they sent to me in PR, and it's called Satara Sparkles. I love this formula. It's more of a moussey cream formula, not like the Merit cream shadow, and it has a lot of shimmer and glimmer in them. Again, it's going to be really creamy once you apply it, but then it sets on the eyes. So I'm actually going to just add this as a topper on my lids. And then when you layer it, you'll get a little bit more shine, a little bit more sparkle. I think the Sona Sona is way more glittery than this one. This has more of like a metallic shine to it. Now just going in with the black shadow and a lining brush, I'm going to reline the eyes. Okay, now let's go back to complexion because I need to finish this complexion. In the best overall clean makeup category, the House Labs by Lady Gaga Triclone Skin Tech Hydrating and Depuffing Concealer actually won, which I'm not surprised about because this is a beautiful, beautiful formula. I mainly like to use it as my under eye concealer because it's hydrating. I don't like to use it all over my face just because it is a lot more of a glowy radiant finish. I think House Labs is killing the game in my opinion. They are actually one of my favorite makeup brands right now, and I think that they are definitely worthy of this win in this category. I do think the foundation should have won, but that's just my opinion. And then for the winner of the best light coverage concealer, it is the Fenty Beauty We're Even Hydrating Long Wearing Concealer. Don't freaking know how this is a lightweight light coverage concealer. I think this is medium coverage on me personally, but I'll be honest with y'all, I don't really like this formula, especially under the eyes. They call it a hydrating concealer, but it's not hydrating in my opinion. It has more of a satin natural finish, and I can find it pretty dry just depending on where you apply it, and it does cling on to fine lines and dry spots, so not my favorite, but I don't mind it as like a spot treatment in a way. I'm taking the BK Beauty A506 brush, and unfortunately no BK Beauty brushes won. I think that there's a chance that BK Beauty didn't submit to be a best of Allure 2024, but I think that they should. And if they did and they didn't win, that's kind of a shame because they have some incredible brushes, especially this one, the A506 is the best under eye concealing brush that I've tried. They did send these brushes to me in PR, and I'm so glad that they did because they are some of my favorite brushes. Yeah, see, I think that this concealer is okay. First of all, one thing about Fenty is I cannot find a shade in their line that actually matches my skin tone. They have so many shades, but none of them are actually like aligned with my skin tone. This is in the shade 300N, and it's fine as an under eye, but it's very pale everywhere else. Yeah, not the biggest fan. For best bronzing stick, we have the LYS No Limits bronzing stick in the shade Harmony. This one, no surprise. It's the creamiest, most blendable formula. It has gone viral, but I don't think they just put viral products on the list, which is totally fine. Like, I'm all for not just blaming it as best of beauty because it went viral. It's the creamiest formula on the market, and they have so many deeper shades. Look at that. What the heck? If you find this to be too pigmented for you, I just recommend going either a shade lighter than you think, or just taking a brush and applying it like this and tapping on the back of your hand and then on your skin. Oh, I feel like I have life back to my face. It just feels so much better. I feel like myself again. Then the best mattifying setting spray was the Milk Makeup Pore Clips Matte Setting Spray. I don't have that one, unfortunately. I actually really want to try this one. I've heard great things about it, so I can't really say much. And the best dewy setting spray was the Urban Decay All Nighter Extra Glow Setting Spray. I haven't tried that one, but I do have the Urban Decay Ultra Matte All Nighter, so I'm just gonna spray this one on my face. So even though I've never tried the All Nighter Extra Glow Setting Spray, what I can say is that the All Nighter line definitely works. It truly keeps your makeup on all night, all day, no budge. It's beautiful. I am really surprised though that the One Size On Till Dawn mattifying waterproof setting spray didn't win, and I'm wondering if they submitted or not because I feel like this would have won. Then again, who knows? Because I've never tried the Milk Makeup one, so maybe it's better than this one. Okay, so once I kind of set my skin, I'm just gonna put in the setting spray. So for best liquid blush, we have the Armani Beauty Luminous Cheek Tint. And for the best splurge blush, Hourglass won that category. And this to me was totally worth the win. The Armani one, I've never tried it, like I've never bought it, but I have tried it in the store. And my problem with the Armani one is I just felt like it was like super sheer. The shades also were a little bit questionable. They didn't feel anything like special to me. And the shades that I did like, I already had in my collection. So I just never bought them. This is the Hourglass in the shade Whim. And one thing about this formula is that it is super liquidy and serum-like. You do want to make sure that you shake up the formula. If not, you are gonna get like oil and grease and like a very sheer finish. It's supposed to be pigmented. A little goes a long way. It's the serum version of the Rare Beauty liquid blushes. I do think that these are gorgeous, even for my oily textured skin. They have some radiance to it, but not in a way that I find to be unflattering, as you can tell. Like that. She's beautiful. Now, a controversial product that's on this list that I would disagree with is the Best Multi-Use Palette, which is the Make Up For Ever HD Skin Face Essentials palette. And I actually did recently buy this during their friends and family sale for like 25% off. I specifically have the one that's for sculpting, but they do have another one that has blushes and highlighters in them. I got the sculpting one just because I usually don't like cream blushes and I don't reach for them as often. This might be good if you have dry skin. It might work for you a lot better. Maybe even combination skin. Even if you have oily skin, maybe if you have less texture and acne that you want to cover up, or if you don't care about your texture and acne, then this might work for you. But for me, I will be returning this because it was a huge disappointment. First of all, it does have fragrance in it, which I did not know. I've watched so many videos and reviews and I did not know that it has a fragrance in it. And the fragrance is like this rose water kind of scent. It's strong during application, but once it's on your face, you don't really smell it. So fair warning there. I can usually handle scent and fragrance, but if I don't like the smell, it bothers me, and I'm not the biggest fan of the scent of rose. I also find that the formula is very easy to blend, very creamy. If you use your fingers, you can feel it warming up with your fingers, so that's what I like about it. I also really like the shade variation of this. It is something that you can mix together and use it as contour, concealer, highlight, things like that. And that's what I like about this palette, the idea and the concept of it. But the formula itself is overly hydrating and too tacky for me. Like, it doesn't fully set on the skin. And even when I set this with powder, I found that it was just uncomfortable on my skin because I could feel it. It's the kind of cream dewiness that I don't like. There's cream to powder, which I like because it fully sets, and then there's just like cream that stays like cream, and I just don't really like the feeling of that. So it didn't work for me, but it might work for you depending on your skin type. I can see why it might have won because a lot of people do really like a palette like this. And if the formula does work for your skin type, I think that the concept of this palette is fabulous. The other thing that I would warn you, no matter your skin type, is that when you apply this with a brush, so if you go in with a brush directly, I find that the pigment isn't there. Like, you really have to dig into the pan with your brush to be able to get more coverage on the skin. The best way I found to get more coverage or more color payoff is by scraping the product off and putting it on a palette or the back of your hand. And I kind of hate that because it makes it not user friendly. You can't just dig into it with a brush. You actually have to like scrape the product out to get enough pigment, unless you do prefer sheer pigment. Again, this is all kind of dependent on like how you do your makeup, but for how I do my makeup, this doesn't work for me. And of course, the winner for the best powder is the One Size Ultimate Setting Powder. I have the shade in Sweet Honey. I bet you the person that tested this product has oily skin, because I don't know anyone that doesn't have oily skin that likes this product. A lot of people with like drier skin, even combo skin, like y'all hate this product because it is so mattifying. It can be very heavy and cakey on the face, and I think depending on what you pair it with, it's gonna look terrible. And it does look cakey on my face too, if I'm being for real, but on camera it looks gorgeous. For event photos and videos, it looks beautiful. Like night events, it looks gorgeous, but in person it can look a little cakey. So I would bet your bottom dollar that the beauty editor that had this, they have oily skin, because there are so many powders on the market that people love, like the Huda Beauty, the old Givenchy powder, even Laura Mercier. So I was shocked to see this on the list because it is super duper mattifying and blurring, and I personally really love this for my skin, but I don't think your everyday person is gonna like a formula like this. Like it can be much. It can be a little much, but as you can tell, like I just did half of my face kind of pressing in the product. One Size powder without One Size powder. I think it also pairs beautifully with the House Labs foundation because it's so matte. When you pair it with more of a dewy, radiant, glowy foundation, I think it looks less cakey. The problem happens when I'm pairing it with like the Estee Lauder foundation. It's usually a little bit too much. If you have oily skin, this is going to be the most matte powder you have. I think even with my oily skin, no matter what powder I wear, the oils will peek through. okay? They will never disappear, but if you want something that's gonna give you a little bit more longevity when it comes to matte, one size powder is where it's at. I think in general, one size is made for the oily skin gals, which I love because I feel like we are definitely deprived in this market of makeup. Next up, we have the winner for powder bronzer, which is the Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Bronzer. I don't have the full size, but I do have it in one of her old palettes. This is the Instant Look of Love in a palette, Glowing Beauty. And I have the shade, I think this is, I don't know, I think this is the medium shade in her powder bronzer. I do really like this bronzer. I find it to be very airbrushed on the skin. The formula is very similar to her setting powders where it kind of blurs the skin, but obviously it's a bronzer, so it has more pigment to it. So if you are someone who has acne prone textured skin like I do think that this bronzer is beautiful. I haven't used it in a while, but now that I'm applying it, I'm like, wait a minute, what am I doing? Why am I not using this? Because it's beautiful. Wow. Allure. I think you're onto something here. I don't find that a lot of people talk about this bronzer, but she is gorgeous. Look at that. Very airbrushed. Okay, now I have to disagree with this one. It is the best powder blush and it's NARS. NARS. I haven't tried the new NARS blushes. I don't know if they reformulated or they just updated the packaging. I just disagree. So there's a chance that I would really fall in love with this formula and I am curious about it. But personally for me, the best powder blushes are from Haus Labs. Haus Labs is where it's at. I have the shade in Pomelo Peach, French Rosette, and Fire Moon. Pomelo Peach is by far my favorite. It has that same airbrush quality as the Charlotte Tilbury powders. It has just enough pigment for the skin, not too crazy, and they are matte, and I love a good matte blush. I feel like a lot of blushes now are luminous or glowy, and I think matte blushes, especially for those of you who have texture on your cheeks, is always the best way to go because you just get more of an airbrushed effect. I'm also mixing in French Rosette more as like a contouring shade, contouring blush shade. I'm going crazy with it, so don't judge me. Someone's gonna comment on this video and they're gonna be like, you're wearing too much blush. I know I'm wearing too much blush, okay? It's the fun of it. All right, let's finish up the eyes now. Best mascara is apparently for volumizing mascara, the L'Oreal Paris Voluminous Panorama Mascara. I have never tried this one, so I can't really say. The best lengthening mascara is the Essence Lash Without Limits Extreme Lengthening and Voluming Mascara. Again, haven't tried this one, so I can't say. What I will say though is my eyelashes are just like my eyebrows. They absolutely hate me. They are fully straight. They will not stay curled unless it's waterproof. And majority of mascaras I've tried at the drugstore or high end, I hate them. They don't work for me. They're either too wet, they don't have longevity, they smudge. And my ride or die mascara is the L'Oreal Voluminous Butterfly Waterproof. Please, L'Oreal, never discontinue this. If L'Oreal ever discontinues this, I don't know what I would do with my life. I think I would cry. And before they do, I'm gonna buy like 20 bottles. It needs to last me a lifetime because I swear no other mascara works on my lashes the way that this one does. It keeps a curl. It has a little curve to it, so it grabs onto the lashes, and it also separates the lashes beautifully, gathers them beautifully. It's not clumpy. It separates them, and then you could also just concentrate it on the tips if you want to lengthen them. And then if you want more volume, you can kind of just wiggle it upwards. And the formula is not super wet. I find it to be more of a drier formula, so I think that's why it really holds my lashes and my curls well, because it's not weighing them down with like a wet formula. Look at that. Look at my lashes, y'all. You can also add some on the bottom, just for a little bit more drama. The mascara is getting to the point where it's even drier than the first time I opened it. So this is the point where it works the best. You know, when your mascara gets a little drier, it's always better. And that's where I'm at with it. Look at, I'm obsessed. Because I am really happy with how my lashes are looking, I'm not gonna put on lashes, but I did want to point out the best individual lash winner, which was from Ardell. It's their Seamless Underlash extensions. I've never tried that one, but what I do love from Ardell are their naked press-ons. These don't have longevity in the sense of like eyelash extensions where you can wear it overnight or anything like that, but I do love it as like a temporary eyelash extension look. So I usually put 2 of them on the outer corners of my eyes if I want more like of a cat eye, or you can put all 3 of them to kind of give you more of a fuller lash look. You pinch these together, no glue necessary, and it just makes your life so much easier. These are by far my favorite of all time. Now let's move on to lips. The lip balm I actually had on was the Rhode Peptide Lip Tint. That did not win an award, which is kind of shocking. I don't know if Rhode won any awards. They might have won in the skincare department, or maybe they just didn't like submit any products for this award. I personally love the Rhode Peptide Lip Tints. It's one of my favorite lip balm tints, but the winner this year was the Summer Fridays, which is not shocking at all. Everyone seems to like that one except me. I just don't like it because I found it really drying on my lips, so that could be more of a personal thing. The texture was beautiful. It felt good on the lips. The color payoff was normal, like it was a sheer tint, but the actual formula itself didn't work for me, and I tend to reach for the Rhode Peptide Lip Tint because I find it more hydrating on my lips. The Ole Henriksen also won in the lip category, and again, I haven't bought this one, but I have swatched it many times in the store. It's something that I am considering buying. It's very thick and super glossy, so I'm very interested in that one, and I'm not surprised it won an award because I feel like I've heard so many good things about it. Now for the best lip liner, Makeup by Mario Ultra Suede Sculpting Lip Pencil has won in this department. I have one of his liners, don't know where it is, so I'm not going to be applying that on my lips. I do find that the formula is beautiful. It's just a typical wooden creamy pencil, but it sets on the lips, so the liner doesn't glide all over the place or fade quickly throughout the day, which I really like. And then the best sheer lipstick was the YSL Beauty Love Shine Lip Oil Stick. Shockingly, I don't really agree with a lot of the winners in the lip category, so I'm just going to show you what I personally love to wear. Because my eyes are a little bit plummy, I'm going to go in with the Hourglass lip liner. This is in the shade Candid 5, which is more of a burgundy kind of maroon color. And this is a very creamy lip pencil, but it does set on your lips. And the lip oil sticks from YSL, I've never tried them, don't plan on trying them. I swatched them in store and they just seem very sheer, which kind of is pointless to me. And I don't really love lip oils, so what I do love though is the YSL Candy Glaze. I have the shade 04 and the shade number 15. I'm gonna go in with the shade number 15, which is more of like a pinky mauve. Alright, so the last category for Allure's Best of Beauty that I wanted to chat about are eyebrow products. Now, I'm just gonna say this off the bat, like I am very much particular and picky and biased when it comes to eyebrow products. Just like mascara is such a personal thing, it's my least favorite part of my makeup routine. I wish I could skip it. As you can tell, I don't even show me doing it on camera because it is just an irritating process every time I do my eyebrows. And just like my eyelashes, my eyebrows are very stubborn. So this front part of my eyebrows, it grows upwards, and the side of my eyebrows grows downwards. And anytime I use a brow gel to kind of bring them up a little bit, to let them set a little bit, they will not listen. They don't care what brow gel you're using, where you're from, how you're made, they don't care. They will always just go back to its natural form, which is so annoying. The best tinted brow gel was the Kosas Air Brow Tinted. I have tried this one, but again, personally, tinted brow gels just don't work for me because they always end up being a little bit too messy, and they don't really do anything for my brows aside from giving it a little bit of color. Because my brows are like grow in weird directions, they just don't work for me. I know my mom really liked the tinted brow gel from Kosas, and she has thinner brows than me, a little less stubborn than mine, so you might also really like that. I've heard good things about it. The best brow wax was the e.l.f. Cosmetics Brow Lift. I've tried this along with the Anastasia Brow Freeze, and neither of them worked for me. And the best brow pen was the Maybelline New York Build Brow. I haven't tried this. It is fairly new. I have heard good things about it. It comes with like a gel on one end and then the brow pen on another end. And the best brow pencil was the Rare Beauty Brow Harmony Precision Pencil. And again, personally, I think when it comes to brow pencil, I don't think you need to be splurging on a brow pencil unless for some reason you have a very specific type of brow pencil you like. For my eyebrows, I use these 3 products. The brow gel is always going to be the Benefit 24-hour brow setter. I have been trying other ones. I've tried the Rare Beauty, the Urban Decay, and some of them do work, but they don't work as good as this. And I still have to finesse with this one. So the key when you have stubborn eyebrows is to make sure you clean off your brow hairs of any like skincare or leftover residue. Make sure it's completely dry and doesn't have any other product in it. Then you want to kind of like brush in the product and kind of soak your hair in this gel and then comb them in the direction that you want them to be. Take a little brush and flatten them out that way. Don't push too hard. You just want to lightly comb them out, because if you push too hard, sometimes that can break up like the gel. It won't stay that way. For the brow tint pen, I recommend the NYX Lift and Snatch over the Maybelline. Now again, I've never tried the Maybelline, so maybe there's some miracle happening there, but I think this comes with more product of just a pen. You can store it upside down, so you'll always get like a fresh brow tint. Retails for like $11 to $12 and it will last you forever. I have the shade in Ash Brown. It comes in multiple different shades. You get that really thin hair-like stroke, and I apply this on the ends of my brows. And then for brow pencil, I think that the Maybelline Express Brow does the trick, does the job. I think this retails between $6 and $10 depending on where you buy it from. I go through multiple of these. This is a product that I'm constantly repurchasing, so again, I just don't find a benefit in splurging on brow pencils because I don't love doing my brows. It's not fun for me. It just makes the look a little bit better. And then I completely forgot to use the best of beauty when it comes to makeup brushes, so that was a fail on my part. I'll chat about them a little bit because I have them. First off is the Hourglass Duo brushes. These are great, incredible, love them. I do think that they're worth the hype. They're super soft. They work with multiple different products. They're duo ended. If I were to cut out all of my brushes, I'd probably just keep these ones because you can use them for blush, highlight, bronzer, contour, powder, all of the above. Then we have the Patrick Ta. I think this was the For Contour number 2 brush that I believe won the award. I do think that this is a beautiful brush, especially for contour. I love to use this with cream bronzer or liquid bronzer to just kind of blend it out. I will have to warn you though, if you prefer smaller brushes, these are huge. Like, they're huge on the face, so if you like more precise application, I'd probably avoid these, but if you love a good fluffy brush, it's beautiful for blending. I would say I'm really happy with the way that my makeup turned out to be. Some of it's kind of surprising, some of it's not surprising at all. I think where it fell flat was the Fenty Beauty concealer. Not the biggest fan of that concealer. Now that I'm thinking about it, oh, I have something on my face. Maybe it is light coverage, and that could be the reason why I don't like it, because I tend to go for more of a medium full coverage concealer. And under the eyes, I've done a full review on that concealer, so if you want to see my review, I'll put it in the description box and somewhere in the cards, so you can kind of watch to hear my full thoughts on that concealer. But everything else, like, I think I agreed with a lot of what they declared as Best of Beauty, especially for eye products, which is kind of cool. Now that I finished my Best of Beauty Awards makeup look, let's find out if these awards are actually rigged. So as I said earlier in the article, brands do submit products, old or new, to Allure to be nominated to win a Best of Beauty award. And actually, the submissions up to 5 products are free. So the brands, technically, if they are submitting up to 5 products, are not paying anything to have a chance to win these awards. But Allure does charge $195 for every extra product beyond 5. And for certain categories, they do charge. So Best of Beauty Breakthrough, brands are being charged $695 to enter this category. I guess it makes sense because they do have multiple people judging and experts judging this category. And then for Clean Beauty, they're charging $295 per entry fee. And they do have an Allure Best of Beauty Awards live event that's in person. And that event is sponsored by Amazon, Dove, Ulta MD Skincare, Head & Shoulders, Herbal Essences, Maria Nilla. Oh no, I don't know how to pronounce these words. Oh my gosh. Neocutis? Neocutis. Oh my gosh, please don't kill me. So take with that information what you will. What I'm understanding is that brands are not being paid to win or have a stamp of approval. Allure actually has people who test these products and choose what winners for each category. I think for me, no matter if it's Allure or if it's a beauty influencer or it's a content creator or my best friend, okay, I always try to get opinions and reviews from multiple different people. And I also find the categories that they have kind of strange. Like some of it feels like a stretch, some of it makes sense as to why they have different categories. So I am curious about the rhyme or reason as to how and why they chose certain categories. Aside from the clean beauty, best of breakthrough, or like the best splurge beauty, I mean like the subcategories. Like why are they choosing those subcategories? Other than that, I'm pretty surprised that I agreed with a lot of the awards. There are a lot of products that I'm interested in trying, and I would love to hear your thoughts and opinions on any of these Best of Beauty awards. Let me know in the comments below what you think. And if you want to see more videos like this, subscribe if you're new to my channel. Like this video if you enjoyed, and as always, I'll catch you on the flip side. Bye!